Are we recording? We're good.
Yeah.
We're back. I think.
Back.
Thought we might have had some technical difficulties, but we're good. We're here.
Yeah. Coming off a good weekend.
Good weekend. Halloween. Did you know it was Halloween yesterday?
Yeah, of course.
We tried to watch we're not super into Halloween, but we tried to watch. I was like, we should watch like a Halloween movie, and you suggested one that you said was so scary and that you used to have nightmares about when you were in middle school. You saw this movie. It's like the scariest movie.
It's like an old Stephen King movie.
It was the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
I couldn't even watch like 5 minutes in a row. It was like so terrible.
I was just on TikTok the whole time.
But I remember when I was a little kid though, I remember that movie like was terrifying to me.
What was it called?
It's called Storm of the Century.
Yeah, it was.
It was like a demon came to this town.
Maybe because it was. It's tough because I think, especially with like scary movies.
We didn't finish it. I think it gets better.
Yeah, maybe.
The first 2 hours suck.
Yeah, with scary movies, I think that especially they don't age well.
Right.
With, you know what I mean? Like with all new.
Like if you watch like an old horror movie from like the 80s or something, you'd be like, this is so corny.
Yeah, like kids' YouTube videos are better than that.
Right,
so
right,
it's tough to do that. But, I went in with an open mind. I was like, oh, it's going to be a good. It was rough.
It's always embarrassing when you suggest the movie and it sucks.
I never suggest anything.
You like this movie? What's wrong with you? How do you like this movie? It's always kind of embarrassing.
Yeah. Or you're like, oh, I thought it was good the first time I saw it.
Right.
Or I don't know. It's hard to suggest older movies that.
I saw that movie came out it was like 1998. So like over 20 years ago, I watched that movie. Yeah. But I remember thinking it was like terrifying.
Yeah.
But it was not super scary.
No, wasn't. We didn't get through it. But
we could try it again.
Or not. Halloween's over. It's Christmas time now.
Yeah, Christmas season.
I woke up this morning, November 1st, and was like, Merry Christmas. This is my time to shine.
You legitimately want to put the tree up.
Yeah, I do. But
no, you can't put the tree up.
Yeah.
Then it's up like 4 months.
Exactly. Right? Exactly.
That's too many months.
I hate when people put it up late because then you only have it up for a little bit. Like, I go all out. I want to do outdoor Christmas lights this year. We got to figure that out.
Well, yeah, I can't do that, obviously.
Well, we got to find someone that can do it.
Yeah, I'm sure we could find someone. It's pretty common.
Yeah.
But good fights this weekend.
Yeah, really good fights. I was definitely excited for this card, and I thought it was like even better than I was expecting.
No, it was amazing. It was amazing. And like the fact that there were 6 fights on the main card, we'll just break down those because there was even good undercards. There were some really good undercards.
A lot of finishes.
Yeah, and just amazing fights. But everyone on the card was just good. All these Russians and international fighters, it seemed. But the first fight was Ankalia versus Vulcan Ostemir. It wasn't the most exciting fight, I don't think, but I think that Ankalia is definitely going to be I think he's one fight away. I could see him fighting maybe like Anthony Smith next.
Okay, yeah.
And if he beat him, then he'd fight probably the winner of, I would imagine that Yuri is going to fight Glover.
Right. I kind of always forget about him.
He's amazing. He's such a really dangerous fighter.
Why do I forget about him all the time?
Yeah, I could see that happening. Like Yuri fights Glover. Ankalia fights like maybe Anthony Smith. That's who I'd like him to fight. And I think he beats Anthony Smith. And then I think he would probably get a title shot. But it's just crazy how many Russians, with him and Islam and Chimaev, and Peter Yan. I mean, there's only 6 belts?
Yeah.
I could see the Russians having 4 of them.
Right.
I really could see that.
I mean, there's not any girls. I'm like, well, Shevchenko, you could almost you could
she is too, really,
you consider her, but the other girl divisions, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. They're definitely, obviously on the come up. That's not news to anyone.
Yeah,
but
I think that they just don't. They're at such an advantage because it's so popular where they live, and they don't have other sports. Like for here, in America, there's so many other sports that kids are introduced, and martial arts is pretty. I mean, kids. I guess karate for when kids are younger is very popular, but that's almost like a t-shirt soccer type of thing. It's just something you do.
It's almost like babysitting.
Yeah, discipline. Right. It's they do it for a little bit and then it's not cool.
These kids are you'll see a highlight video of a 11-year-old Dagestani wrestler, and you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. And he's got 700,000 followers on Instagram, and they're doing moves that look like world champion level.
Well, I remember in Jersey, Zabit comes and does his camps with us, and I remember
he's another one. I mean, if he comes back, he could win too.
A couple of years ago, his little brother came, and it was like 17, and he was like sparring with Zabit. I mean, Zabit's obviously was like better than him, but I mean, Zabit was not going easy on him. Yeah. And it was kind of like almost, I mean, I see people spar my whole life all the time, spar hard, but it was like a little uncomfortable. I was like, oh my God, he's like kind of beating him up, but his brother could.
His brother was like 16, right?
Yeah. He was, and he just like looked really young. He could like he would spar all the other guys at the gym, and he could definitely like be a good sparring partner, and he was young. And then, I mean, now that was a couple of years ago. Now he's like undefeated, fights in Bellator. I think they like had in the beginning, like, get him a couple smoker kickboxing fights when he was in Jersey. They had to like lie about his age to say he was 18. And he would like go in and like jump spinning kick and like knock out some guy in the head. It was like really crazy to watch. Yeah,
he's really good too. But then the next fight was Lee and Chimaev. Mm-hmm. And Chimaev is like, I mean, he's as good as advertised. I mean,
we talked about
super, super legit.
We talked about that. I'm like, I picked Lee for that just because I was like, I don't know. I was like, he's more experienced. We won't know until after this fight if Chimaev is like, because he's only fought lower ranked people. I think Lee was like ranked like 10 or 11. So I was like, it's not that I don't think he can win, but we just don't know yet. Well, now we know for sure. He's like really, really, he's like, I mean, who's beating him at that weight?
I mean, it's hard to bet against Kamaru Usman. Yeah. It's hard to imagine someone beating Kamaru Usman to me. But so obviously he's really good. I think Colby is a tough matchup because his wrestling and his striking.
He has really a little bit of time before he gets there.
Yeah. I know Neil Magny was really pushing for the Chimaev fight.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But I think that he'd have a hard time with him because like Neil got taken. I love Neil Magny. He's one of my favorite fighters, but he got taken down like 10 times against Mike Chiesa. And Mike Chiesa is good, but I don't think he's like Chimaev good with his grappling. So I think Neil Magny I think he would keep it standing and drag him into deep waters and, get him tired and win because his cardio is so good.
Yeah, it'd have to be a 5-round fight.
Yeah, but I don't think he's stopping those takedowns.
I don't think so.
Especially because he couldn't against like a Chimaev, But
Chiesa.
Oh yeah, against Chiesa, yeah. But Chimaev is just like, he's just so good. He's so strong. He's so confident. And
everywhere, striking and wrestling and grappling.
Yeah. And he's so fun.
I mean, I love him. Like when he got behind him, lifted him up and like walked over to Dana and was like, Dana, look, and like slammed him down and stuff. He was like, oh, Dana was I was upset because Dana was on his phone. I'm like, how in the first 20 seconds of a fight do you notice that? That's crazy.
Well, he's in that much control, but I just feel like, I feel like he's going to be more of a star than even Khabib, just because his English is a little bit better and he seems to be a little bit more, because I think he was born in like Chechnya, Dagestan area and like lived there for most of his life. But then he moved to, he's in Sweden now, which is more like Western, I feel like. And you could tell he's a little more like verbose. Like the other guys, like Khabib is so like, so stoic.
Yeah.
And it's not as fun. I mean, he had some fun interviews too, but I feel like this guy could really blow up. Like his shit talking is like amazing for someone whose second language is English.
Yeah.
I feel like he's like a more marketable, better version of Khabib.
Yeah. And he's so new and it just seems like it comes so natural.
He's just fun.
Yeah.
And imagine once his fight is set now with Gilbert Burns. It's going to be a main event. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, if he beats Gilbert Burns, he's almost definitely getting the next title shot. The only way he wouldn't would be if Colby beats Usman this weekend, because then they'd have to rerun that.
So you think he'll fight Gilbert next?
No, he is fighting Gilbert next. That's set. It already got set.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fighting Gilbert. So that's an interesting fight because Gilbert is not super easy to take down, and he definitely has, some power in his hands.
Right.
So
it's crazy that like 2 weeks ago I would be like, oh my God, Gilbert's gonna definitely smash him. Now I'm like, I don't know.
It's really tough.
You'd have to, now before this fight, I was like, okay, is he we don't know if he's in that top 10. Now I'm like, okay, well, he's definitely in the top 10, but I don't know if he's in the top 5. But he might go in his next fight, do the same thing.
Well, Gilbert Burns is as good as anyone.
Yeah,
like, if there's not Kamaru Usman in the weight class, he's probably the champion, or, him or Colby. But
that's why I always say, like, the top 5.
Top 3, top 5 are really, really good.
Yeah, interchangeable. And there's a lot of divisions. The top 5 there's a big difference. Everyone talks about top 10, but there's a big difference between top 10 and top 5.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, every 5 thing is, obviously you could say that with any number in the rankings, but the top 5 is almost like interchangeable with the champs for a lot of the divisions, where below it's like they're interchangeable with like the top 15.
Yeah, I agree. But he's definitely really, really good. Yeah. And he's so fun. That's like,
I'm a fan.
I'm like a legit fan too. The next fight wasn't as fun to me. It was Volkov versus Tabora. I kind of thought Tabora was going to be able to get the fight to the ground and win like controlled grappling fight.
He didn't come close.
He didn't even come close.
He tried too.
Yeah, Volkov, it looked like he used to be like a long, like thin guy, but he looked like he filled out. He's like a big, strong, like 7 foot.
Yeah, he's not like a skinny, lanky guy.
No, he's not. He's like thick. He's just a big, good guy. But yeah, he's good too. It's just like he's kind of like in a weird spot. Like, I don't think he's beating like the top guys.
But he's hard to beat for the other guys.
But he's like he's fought everyone, but he's like, the guy's 6 and down, he's smashing. Mm-hmm. The guys probably 4 and up are beating him.
Right.
So he's in a kind of just like a roster guy, but a top 10 stable guy. But he's definitely impressive. But that was a good win. Then we had Mahachkala. Islam Makhachev.
I gotta remember this fight. Who are you talking about?
Makhachev and Hooker. I mean, that was just ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, didn't think Hooker was gonna win, but I didn't think he was gonna get fucked. But then after, I was like, well, of course.
I mean, I didn't think it was gonna be like that. I thought he'd stop a takedown or something, but it just shot a double leg. Passed his guard, Kimura, finish.
Well, it's funny because I think he shot the double leg on, if I remember, I think Hooker threw a low kick. And that right away, I was like, ooh, like Hooker's kind of like a tall, lanky, like, kind of moves around a lot. I'm like, why would he, if the person's just going to pressure taking you down, if you're going back, don't throw a low kick. But he probably would have got taken down anyway.
Yeah, probably.
But at first, the second he threw that, I was like, oh, why did he throw a low kick in the first, 5 seconds of the fight going backwards? And then he got taken down. But I don't think that's why he lost. Like I said, he probably would have gotten taken down regardless. But yeah, I mean, crazy.
Yeah, he's another one. He's just super, super good. He's good at everything. He's like, it's good when these high level grapplers that have the ability to take someone down, but then they also finish on the ground.
Yeah.
Because most people don't like watching the grapplers. They're like, oh, all he does is wrestle, all he does. But if you take someone down and break their arm or take someone down and strangle them, everyone wants to see that.
But I think a lot of the Dagestani guys, they wrestle with grappling, whereas traditionally we've seen in MMA, the wrestlers, people doing the takedowns are wrestlers and where they're just holding. And they probably get away with that in the training room because they could do that to anyone. So they don't have the urge to really develop a jiu-jitsu game because they're like, well, I could just take the person down and win at the scrambles and hold him on top, which you can do. But to be, obviously we all know to be a star and you have to finish.
But those guys are going for the finishes. Khabib would get people tired and he had really good vicious ground and pound. He would get that far wrist and do a lot of damage with his ground and pound. But Chimaev and Islam, they are more take them down, pass the guard, and get into real jiu-jitsu submissions.
Taking the back.
Take the back. I mean, Chimaev had a choke on the right side, then he rolled over and he changed his hands and finished it on the left side.
Right.
And
that's jiu-jitsu.
That's jiu-jitsu, yeah. And Islam too. That's Kimura's perfect technique. He's pressing the Kimura.
I cannot watch
arms about to snap. But these guys are taking people down and trying to finish the fights. And that's why there's so fun to watch, but in a style that's typically not fun. People don't usually like the grappling, but they're both amazing. Really, really impressive.
Yeah. Who do you think Islam's going to fight next?
I don't know. I mean, I think he should probably get a title shot, But a lot of people think that the winner of Gagey and Chandler would get a title shot, but they've both just had a title shot.
Yeah, well, I guess it would depend. If the Gagey and Chandler fight, if someone wins like in a really like, I mean, how much more dramatic could it be than Islam's fight? But I think if they won that, maybe then they could get a title shot. But
I mean, you could argue like Gagey. I love Gagey. He's one of my favorite fighters. But you could argue that he got finished his last fight against Khabib. Then if he beats Chandler, he would have beaten a guy who's 1-2 in the UFC to get an immediate rematch or immediate another second chance for a title shot.
Yeah.
Like, because Chandler, if he loses this, he's 1-2 in the UFC, which, granted, they're all against the very best, but I'm not sure that that's like.
So either Islam gets a next title shot, or if the winner of that gets the title shot, he'll get the loser.
That would be crazy if he gets a loser. Because imagine Gagey wins, and then he fights Chandler. Then Chandler would go 1-3.
The UFC would probably like that.
Yeah, they probably would.
Because when someone comes in from a new division, they use them right away. They throw them in because they're like, well, if they do good and they win, then it's like a new star right away and everyone's interested. And then they're like, but if they lose a couple, they kind of did that with like Eddie Alvarez in the beginning.
Right. If they lose a couple, then it's like, see, nothing compares to
or
the
like
UFC.
Ben Askren.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think the UFC would like that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
They would love like one of like the Russians to beat him.
Yeah. But I think that he should probably get the next title shot.
Yeah.
I really do. But we'll see. But next week, well, if Gagey goes out and like just completely dominates, then maybe he will. But I think that the demand for Islam is going to be too high right now.
Right now, especially the fight being back-to-back weeks
yeah.
at the same time. Because a lot of the matchmaking tactics in UFC is all about timing. Because sometimes, like as soon as one fight happens, you would have a really good performance. The next week, when that new fight card comes up, you're forgotten about.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it's so tough being a fighter because like you have to fight. That's why Chimaev before was so popular. He was fighting so much back to back to back.
Right.
The people that fight more and obviously you have to win, but even just winning and not being active isn't enough because people forget about you like that. There's fights every single week and there's, people's memory is very short and it's just they want more right now.
Yeah, definitely. Then the next one, co-main event, Peter Yan and Sandhagen.
Probably one of my like top favorite fights.
I mean, like recency bias is like a real thing. Do you know what that is?
Yes, I know what that is. You're biased because it's recent.
Yeah, so recency bias is a real thing, but I think that was maybe like the best MMA fight I've ever seen. It was just Peter Yan, just his approach is so unique for MMA fighting because he only fights 5-round fights. I think if he was fighting 3-round fights, you can't have that approach. You can't give away that first round in a 3-round fight. But in a 5-round fight, knowing that you have good cardio, I think what he does, it looks to me that he keeps that very high guard. He takes minimal damage and he's just so smart and like seeing what the guy's doing. He is getting reads on him.
He definitely like lulls people into like a boxing match, but then he throws that really hard body kick.
His kicks are as good as his boxing.
But he like doesn't throw them that much, so he does it just enough so like I think when people are forgetting about it, he whips a hard body shot. God. And he just does that like typical boxing pressure where they just hands up and he just is walking at you, where in MMA, when you see people with good forward pressure, it's a little bit like just wild swinging like a Yoel Romero or like even like a Jessica Andrade, like where they're just hands up and they're coming at you swinging.
He's pivoting and slipping.
He's keeping his hands up and just walking you down. So for someone like Sandhagen, who's always on, like riding the bicycle, moving back, pop, 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 you can do that. And he's almost like, all right, keep going. And eventually it's not going to work anymore. But I mean, with that being said, I thought Sandhagen fought an insanely good fight. I mean, he did the first round. I was like, oh, he might win. And then
he looked amazing.
He did everything right. And he still kept up for that pressure. He kept up that pace like the whole time. He obviously slowed down, but I thought it was a great fight.
No, he's incredible. Sandhagen's so fun to watch, and he's same thing. He's really good at everything. Like when he was like ripping to the body, he was throwing like those liver punches.
Yeah,
and, like, both hands going to the body. Like
when he threw the body shots, I was like, oh, this is good. I'm like,
they both attacked the body a lot.
Yeah, they both did. But in the beginning,
because Sandhagen is so tall, so his body was somewhat exposed, and Jan has such a high guard that his body was somewhat exposed.
Right.
So they both really kind of went after the body, and that's a unique thing because you don't see that a ton, and that's more like a boxing approach.
Yeah, and it's crazy too because like Sandhagen towards like especially the last like 2 rounds, I was like, man, he looks like he's getting rocked. He looks so like tired. But then when
the fifth round was close.
But when they went to the ground and their scrambles, I was like, oh no, he's still 100. Like their scrambles, I was like, this is the most insane thing. They were going like sometimes Sandhagen would look like he was like knocked out, and then the scrambling and how they did that, I was like, so that was the most impressive thing I think I've seen.
I liked when Sandhagen, he kept shooting, like he was shooting like change his levels, attacking the leg, then come up and then throw his hands. Like he was mixing it up so well. But yeah, when they were on the ground, it looked like 2 like elite grapplers.
Yeah. So
both
fast.
of them. Amazing. Yeah. Changing positions. It was really impressive.
Went for a heel hook.
Yeah. Yeah. Then came up, then ended up back on top. Yeah, both insanely impressive.
I almost wish there was like a little bit more of the grounds just because it was so impressive. I mean, obviously their striking is impressive, but like when they would, because they didn't go to the ground that much, but when they did, it was like so fast and crazy that I was like, ooh, I kind of want to see that again.
Yeah. I mean, I think like, I don't really love the pound for pound thing, but I think Usman probably is the best, but I would say Jan is number 2, or maybe Jan and then Usman.
Yeah.
But he is just incredible to me.
Yeah. I mean,
just so good at everything.
Everything, yeah. Power, speed, like boxing,
and
wrestling.
It's just like his mind too. Like to have the confidence to kind of give up a round. That's what it looks like to me.
Yep.
And then come back. But you couldn't do that in a 3-round fight, right?
No. Because I mean,
because then if you slip and the guy lands on top of you,
there's no
and holds you down for the second round, then you're down 2 rounds. You need to finish in the third.
But it's crazy that he has the confidence to kind of take the first 2 rounds off because, I mean, especially that's the guy male bantamweight, like how you could get finished so easily. Yeah. So it's not just like in boxing, it's kind of like they take off the first couple when they have a lot of rounds, they take off the first couple to kind of feel the person out. And some boxers will take off more rounds and then wait till the end because they know they're not going to get finished. But in MMA, even if you go against someone that you're way better, you could still always get caught. You're wearing 4-ounce gloves, there's submissions, there's anything, Because then I always say this, like, it sounds so basic, but it's really draws things into perspective. And I haven't thought about this until like the last year. In a 3-round, when I fight a 3-round fight, I'm like, obviously you try to win every round, but it is so important to win the first round because if you lose the first round in a 3-round fight, you have to win 2 rounds in a row. Do you know, like when you're fighting top level people, it's different. If it's your UFC debut, you're outmatched, you have different things. When you're in the top 5 of the world, basically, every little thing it's so close. So if you lose that first round, now you have to win 2 rounds in a row. But if you win that first round, you're like, well, I have to, obviously not get finished, but win 1 more round. It's a lot easier to go into that second round knowing you have to win 1 more round than I have to win 2 in a row. Right. But so now for a 3-round fight or a 5-round fight, if Peter Yan takes the first 2 rounds you gotta off,
win 3 in a row.
You have to win 3 in a row, but that just shows how confident he is.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
And I don't even know if he purposely goes, because I mean the rounds 1 and 2 were still close, but he was definitely holding back.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
But he's so confident that at that high level, for championship level, for one of the arguably toughest divisions, he's confident that he can give up the first 2 rounds and he'll win 3 rounds in a row, which is like mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. Really, really impressive. So I imagine he'll fight Aljo next, I think. I think he said he wanted to fight Dillashaw, but either one of those.
Probably Aljo, unless he's like out for longer, then he'll definitely fight. I mean, I think if you're an interim, do you still get like championship money? Because you get a belt.
I don't know.
Pay-per-views?
I would think probably.
Probably, I think
but
so.
But I think Dillashaw is out for a while too. So who knows? He might not fight for a while.
Yeah. Well,
but I hope he fights again, relatively soon.
Me too.
But, we'll see. Then the main event, the Polish Hammer versus Glover.
We thought Polish Hammer was going to win, but I think we're happy that Glover won because we wanted him.
What I said was, I predicted Blachowicz, but I predicted him to win. But I said Glover could beat him if he was able to take him down. Because I
him
knew
down
that
so
if he
easy.
got on top, his jiu-jitsu was just too good, and I figured he'd get a strangle, choke him out. And I said that too, but I did not think he was going to be able to take him down like as effortlessly as he did.
It was crazy.
He just like got his leg and like skied him.
It wasn't like,
down.
he snuck in a takedown and then got the finish.
Or
quick.
like dazed him with like a big punch. He just like lifted, like skied him.
It looked like he was like drilling.
Yeah, and it was like effortless. And then when that first takedown was like no fight whatsoever, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
He's, I didn't bet on it, but
now I'm like, if they were a rematch, you're still like the way that fight happened. If there's a rematch,
I don't think
you're
he
like,
ever beat him.
oh no, he's not beating him. But before I was thinking, I'm like, if Glover wins, if he gets to the ground, he could get a submission. Like that was like his only shot. Now I'm like, oh no, that's gonna happen every time they fight.
Every time.
Yeah, which was amazing.
He's really, really high level on the ground. I mean, and I knew that, but it is crazy. Like, because Jan is pretty good on the ground, right? But
I think that's like everyone's excited. It's fun when that
everyone was happy for him.
Yeah, when that submission happened at first, I was like, damn, I must have been on the jaw. He tapped so quick. But then I think it was the angle they showed, because then I saw another clip where it was the other angle, and I was like, oh no, that was definitely under the chin.
Oh, yeah.
Because it looked like it was just on his chin, and I was like, but that hurts too, especially when someone's hips are in and your belly down.
Belly flat out.
Yeah. When you're getting that position, you're like, just do the choke so we can get this over with, because there's nothing you can really do.
Nothing.
And at first I thought, I'm like, oh, he probably like just had such a tight squeeze on his chin. But then when you did see a different angle, it was under the chin for sure.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I think he'll probably keep trying to fight and defend it, but this is the type of thing where like, just go out.
Yeah, but then when you're the champ, you make a lot of money.
A lot more money, yeah.
You'd be like, it's easier to do like
one more,
yeah.
Yeah, of course.
If I were him, I'd be like, well, we could do a rematch.
Well, that would be great, but I don't think they would rematch that right away. I think that he'll fight. I hope that he fights Yuri, just because he's so fun and exciting and wild. But I mean, when you have that type of finishing ability on the ground with like competent striking, knockout power, I mean, it really is super dangerous.
Yeah.
Unless someone takes him down. Like if you watch his fight with Corey Anderson, took him down like 3 times around.
Yeah.
It was like insane. They were like 10-8, 10-8, 10-8. Or maybe it was 5-round fight, but he dominated him, just kept taking him down. And
Corey took that fight on like a week notice.
Yeah. But Corey like just completely out-wrestled him. It was not even remotely a close fight.
No.
But if you don't have Corey's level of takedowns, he's a bad matchup for these guys. Yeah, because Corey has the takedown, the striking to takedowns, the takedowns, and the cardio. Right, the cardio, yeah. So, yeah, if you're good at jiu-jitsu, but if you're on the bottom and someone's just holding it, it's tough. It's he's like Glover's great at jiu-jitsu, but he's a top guy. Like take him down, pass guard, get his back, or mount and strangle him. But you're not doing that against Corey. No. So, yeah, it's interesting. I think he'll fight Yuri next, then Blachowicz, who knows? Yeah. But, yeah. So you have your fight to announce? Yeah. You could have last week. It was out there. I know, but Gregor was on, and then we were, I kind of forgot about it. But yeah, I signed a fight. I'm fighting January 15th. Lately, the last 2 fights, I've been getting like so much notice before a fight. Like 14. Well, who are you fighting? Oh, I'm fighting. It's like not that exciting. It's exciting. Even like Ryan Capera was like, I feel like Keelan's not that excited about this fight. I'm like, well, I'm not. Like, obviously, that doesn't affect my training, but I'm fighting Jennifer Maya, who I've already fought, and I just fought her like not even 2 years ago. So I think I've never had a rematch with someone that I fought. No. In like kickboxing I did, but I don't even remember that. But no, I've never, maybe amateur MMA, but like I said, I feel like that doesn't count. So the last time you fought her, for reference, was on when Masvidal fought Nate Diaz on the BMF belt championship. It was at MSG. Donald Trump was there. It was like I remember it was a really fun big night pre-COVID. Yeah. It was like a really fun special night, but I thought that you completely dominated her, and I think she's really good. She gave Valentina's probably the toughest fight in a while. She won a round. She took her down. So she's definitely good, but I just think that, you just match up with her like tremendous. Yeah. Like she cannot keep up with your footwork.
There's some like matchups that, you know, you win and you're like, obviously if you lose a fight, unless you like totally get fucked up, but if you lose a fight, you always want to rematch because you want to get that back. Like for me, you know, most of my losses were super close. And so I kind of want that back, you know, because I know I could beat them again. Right. You know what I mean? And like when I fought like Jessica, it was a split decision. When obviously Andrade with the body getting stopped by the body shot. Those are two fights that I'm like, all right, I want them back. But but when you win, it's weird because you're like, well, I already got the win, so I don't really want it. But there's some fights that you're like, I got the win, and you're like, all right, I'm happy with that. Let's not revisit that. You're like, all right, you kind of like. That was a tough fight. I won, but it was a tough fight. Right. This one's like where I'm like, all right, if I'm doing a rematch, I definitely want this fight. But I'm super confident for this.
Even like your last fight, like that opponent is scarier to me than Jennifer Maia.
Yeah, I think they're about this.
Vivian's like more like finishing power is a little bit more faster. She's more aggressive.
Mm-hmm. I think they're about the same, but I'd rather. So. Well, I do. I fought both of them, but I think they're about the same. But you're right. I would definitely rather fight Jennifer Maia over out of like my last couple of like I'm saying like my last like 8 fights maybe. Like she was probably one of the easiest. No fight's easy, but you know her like Cynthia were kind of the same.
Yeah, she's similar to Cynthia and definitely very good. But you know I'm excited for.
I just thought it was weird because I was like, oh, to get a rematch with someone. Not title shot that you just fought. Like usually I thought maybe I would get I fought everyone in the top 10, so I knew a rematch was bound to happen.
I thought you'd fight Lauren Murphy next.
That's what I thought. I was excited about that because I just don't like her. But
yeah, I would have rather you fought her too.
Yeah, I think everyone wanted me to fight Lauren Murphy. But she's annoying. But Jennifer Maia is like whatever. I mean, great. I won already and I know what she, you know, it's kind of, it's weird because it's like, all right, you know what they bring to the table, but then you're like, well, do I overthink it? Because maybe they obviously got better because I got a lot better, but you know.
She definitely got better.
That's what everyone says. They're like, oh, well, she definitely got better. I'm like, yeah, but I got so much more better since that fight. So I'm like, it's going to be the same thing. If not, I'm just going to dominate her even more.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be here quick too. You got a long time, but it'll come quick.
No, I won't be able to really celebrate Christmas though.
Yeah, I know. That's hard for you.
That's so hard for me.
No Christmas.
There's a fight card on December 18th. That would have been fun because then it would be like win December 18th and then like celebrate for the holidays. Right. But I'll still celebrate. Just I have to wait. Yeah. But whatever.
That's a big difference though, right?
A huge difference.
Because what else is there, right?
I mean, Christmas is all about like hot chocolate and Christmas cookies.
Yeah.
But I got lucky. The last like 2 holiday seasons, I've always fought like the beginning of November.
All your fights have been good timing, I think. Because I don't like when you fight in like July 30th either.
I'd rather fight
half the summer. You're missing.
I'd rather fight like Christmas Day than the summer because I love like summer so much and like hanging out and ice cream and
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I'm excited. I'm still like I usually do like I guess like I'm always training, but kind of like an 8-week camp. So I think I'm like 11 weeks out now. So I still have time. I'm just trying to still train him, but I don't want to go too crazy. And then all of a sudden, like I'm like 4 weeks out and I'm burnt out. So I'm excited. I want to just get it started right away.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And this weekend, ADCC trials.
This is so weird. I'm like pumped.
Really?
Yeah, I'm super pumped. Like, I don't know.
We decided we're going to be attending.
Yeah.
As spectators.
That's what I said. I'm pumped to go and spectate. Like, I don't know. I love training jiu-jitsu, but you know, I'm not a jiu-jitsu person. I'm an MMA person. So like, it's cool and I like it. And I like a lot of people that we train with, you know, compete. So that's fun, but it's really tough for me to watch. But this one, we were kind of like, do you want to go? All right, let's go. And I'm like super amped about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, we haven't been in an AC since like for years now. We used to go all the time.
That makes it more desirable.
It's close. We could just drive down there. And then like, I'm excited. I want to see like Gordon. Yeah. Again, you know, I haven't seen him in a long time.
I feel like I just want to go to AC and hang out with Gordon and Natalia.
That's what I want to do.
That's basically why I'm going.
Yeah, but it'll be fun to watch some matches. There's I think there's 800 people attending or signed up to compete, so which is a lot.
Yeah.
a few people were asking, like, the questions that I put up. They're like, well, what do you think about wrestlers? Are wrestlers dominating ADCCs? And I don't know about that. Like, everyone keeps saying that, but I think they're comparing it because they, like, where Nikki Rod was on the last time came out as a wrestler and, did really good. But, like, I don't really consider him like a wrestler. Like, he's a wrestler, but he wasn't like an accomplished wrestler. He's a grappler. Mm-hmm. He's like an explosive, like, good cardio, high pace, like, hard hand fighter, very tough to submit, like, grappler. Like, he's not like Bo Nickel, where he's like a wrestler who goes in there and, like, whatever happens. Because if you can't avoid submissions, and if you go right for hard takedowns and you get the fight down to the ground, that's not necessarily the best thing. Because if you're not, like, well versed, like, how to pass guard or maintain position on top, the guy's just gonna, like, submit you. Mm-hmm. Where Nicky Rod doesn't really do takedowns, but he's very difficult to take down. He does, like, hand fights really hard, and then
gets
the person tired, and then eventually wins, like, a referee's decision, or maybe gets a takedown at the end. But, like, a good wrestler who has the ability to take anyone down, if they go out there and just ankle pick someone, take them down, then now they're on the ground.
Now they gotta pass
because the person can't pull guard. Mm-hmm. So it's not, you have to have the right strategy. Like, Nicky Rod is very disciplined and, like, maintained the right strategy for a quote unquote wrestler to win.
Yeah.
So I don't think that necessarily, like, any high level wrestler could just step in and win. I think some people think that, but I don't necessarily think that's true.
I think too, I could be wrong. It's just my opinion about it. But when someone like Nicky Rod went into the last one, he was so new that I feel like he was almost like a little, like, ignorance is bliss. Like, he didn't know that much. So he almost, like, not in a rude way, but he almost didn't have respect for the people that were so good. And I think a lot of times I see, like, in jiu-jitsu, like, so he just went in and just kind of, like, did really good because he's like, well, I don't care. I'm just going to go really hard. Who cares? And having that attitude, I think in jiu-jitsu, a lot of times that people give other people that have been competing longer or had, like, bigger resumes, they give them so much respect that they assume that they can't beat them.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But I think, like, the biggest thing is that if you don't really know the rules, and I think that he was well-versed, he was training with John at the time, he was really well-versed with, like, exactly when, you get his points, when the person's allowed to pull guard, when to take someone down. Like,
how to get them tired.
A lot of strategy with that. And if I know, like, I know Pat Downey's in this bracket, Gordon was telling me, but he's like such a good wrestler and such a aggressive wrestler that he'll go out and just be like, I'm gonna spike him down, and then you're on the ground, and now the person
you're gonna pass guard.
Now you can't stand up and let him to come back up. Now you have to stay down and not get leg locked for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not necessarily the right approach, because some people think, like, oh, I'll just, I can't stop my takedown. Okay.
Right.
But it's, I don't think that the wrestlers are going to dominate it like some people are asking. They might
do better in that rule set than other rule sets, but that doesn't mean.
But you have to have the right strategy.
Yeah. And you have to practice that too with good people. That. You can't just practice with other, like, shitty jiu-jitsu people or other MMA people. You have to practice that strategy. If you're a wrestler, you have to practice that strategy with high-level jiu-jitsu people, so you understand if I take them down, like, they're going to go into my legs right away. Right away. Yeah.
So it's, you got to play that. You don't, not at the beginning of the round, you don't, like, in wrestling, it's like, ready, go, and then take them down right away. Mm-hmm. Like this, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the right approach. But either way, we'll watch a few matches. I can't imagine we could watch, like, a ton of matches. Yeah. But it'll be fun to be in AC again.
Yeah. We used to go to AC all the time. You especially.
Yeah.
Like, fuckboy Kyle used to go to AC a lot.
Well, yeah. And, like, a lot with, like, fighters too. Like, for years, like, Gregor fought, like, like every 4 months for 2 years, he fought in AC. So, and then when you're there, that's like 3 nights at a time. Like,
I used to love fighting in AC when, like, regional promotion for like CFFC. That was like the best time ever because it was like all my friends would go fighting. Like, you know,
that was fun.
So many people go. That was so much fun. And I think now I still kind of have like a little nostalgia from that. Like when we go to Atlantic City together, I'm like, oh yeah, it kind of reminds me of then. And it's definitely not like that now, but it's still like,
like there's like Murmur and Providence.
Yeah.
And,
I remember like
Paris pool party.
When I used to bartend, we would go down for like the liquor convention, and it was like all my friends, like everyone that we worked with would go, and it was just like everyone like that worked in New Jersey, Philadelphia in the industry was like going out, and it was just like such a crazy time, like going there. It was so
HQ,
fun.
Remember the HQs and Revel? There was so many.
We would take
it was a fun place. I used to love going to AC, but I don't think it's like that anymore. We'll see this weekend.
Our like jobs used to have like party buses. Be like, all right, on Monday everyone's off. We're going to AC, and like have party buses take us, and we would go there. It was crazy.
Yeah.
You have some crazy stories from
definitely
from AC.
Yeah.
What about when you used to go and you like didn't have money?
Yeah, definitely. I remember one time. I remember one time I went and I was like in college. I think it was one of the first few times I went, and I had just finished doing like a wrestling camp in like near like Allentown, Pennsylvania. And I got paid, I think like $1,500 for like the week.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, we'll go to AC. And I remember thinking, I was like, I got all kinds of money. We'll just party in AC.
You're going to ball out.
Yeah. But we weren't staying there. I had a friend that lived in AC. So I stayed at his house. I didn't have to get a hotel. So I just had like crazy money to just blow.
Yeah.
And I went out to dinner and I like gambled the first night and I lost all my money. I like partied a little bit and like gambled, lost all my money. Then the next day I had like no money to do anything. I couldn't even eat the whole day.
Day two.
And not like when people are, I have no money and they have like, you know, a couple $100 or whatever. I had no money, meant like no money. $0. So then I had drove there and I was like needed to drive home, but I needed like gas money.
And tolls.
You
couldn't get home.
I couldn't get home. So my friend set up like another, like a wrestling seminar at his old high school, and they paid me like $200 to do it. And I made $200, and that's how I got home.
That's so stressful.
So stressful.
Were you stressed?
Yeah, of course.
But why did you like?
But I remember thinking, because I had like $1,500. I was like, I had all the money in the world. I just wanted to party.
When you got to like $200 left, you weren't like.
Well, I was like I got to get it back.
Oh my!
You know what I mean?
It's like it sounds so irresponsible. Yeah. It's so stupid.
Yeah, but it was everything I had.
Oh,
that was
my God! So you're like they just scrambled around, did planned a wrestling.
I taught a wrestling in like Egg Harbor, New Jersey.
Can someone let me teach a wrestling program?
Yeah, and I had like a couple people with me, so like we all had to get home, and they were wrestlers too. They like helped me out. I showed moves on them.
That's so funny. Oh my God, super stressful.
Another time I got robbed in AC. Well, I don't know about robbed. I think they call it rolled.
Yeah.
I
think it's pretty sad.
Yeah. One time also in AC, I was out with one of my friends, and we were out having a really fun night. I think I was fighting then. But I had a fight canceled. So a lot of friends were in town.
Okay.
But my fight got canceled the day of. So
then it's just party.
Just party. So we were like, really partying hard. Mm-hmm. Then like the end of the night, me and my friend brought these two girls back to the hotel and went up to the room, partied, whatever. Then my friend was got in the shower, and the girls were like leaving. Then he gets out of the shower and he's like, right away checked his wallet, and then he was like, my wallet's gone, they took all my money. Then I was like, oh, let me check. And I checked my pants, which were on the floor.
You had no money in there anyway.
No, I had a lot of money. I had I had a decent amount of money because we were like gambling. We both made money that night.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was all gone. So my friend, puts on a towel and he runs. He was like a crazy jacked psychopath. And he came running down the hall, and they're getting in the elevator. This is at the resort's casino, and he stops the door. Like in the elevator.
Were they there?
And they're in there. He's like, give me my money. You stole my money.
In a towel.
Yeah, in a towel.
How did the towel not fall while he was running?
It might have. But he was like, give me my fucking money. They're like, we don't have your money. We don't have your money. I'm like,
what are you going to do?
dude, they got you.
Yeah.
They got us.
You can't like touch them.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do. You're going to get arrested.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, you got to just let them go. They got us.
Yeah.
And he was like, are you crazy? They have it. It's in it. There's right here. So they were like, here, this is all we have. And they had like 3 chips, like 1 black and like 2 greens. It was like $150. They gave him 3 chips. Like,
and you guys had
chips.
theirs way more.
Oh my God. Like, I think like between both of us, like probably like $3,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then we go back to the room. My friend, he's like this giant jacked up dude.
He's all
and
hot.
He's bawling, crying. And he's like, that was my life savings. He called it his life savings. But like life savings implies like you were putting like nickels and dimes in a jar for like your whole life. And then you accumulated like, you know, the $3,000. But really he just like won a few hands of blackjack.
Yeah.
He came with like $500 and made it like $1,500.
Oh my God.
And he was like, that was my life savings. And he was crying that he lost his life savings. But yeah, you got to be careful because I think that's like a thing that people do there.
That's like really...
Or it always was a thing. I don't
really
know
ballsy for the girls.
Yeah.
Because how do they know that...
Well, I think they're like really good at that.
I mean, they're not that good. They got caught in the elevator. I mean, you could have like...
Once you get out of the room, I mean...
There's no one... I mean, I would have been like... You could be scared that they're going to like... How do they know you guys aren't like psycho and going to like beat them up? I mean...
Well, yeah. I think that they probably know like, oh, well... These are good guys.
They kind of like
suckers.
figure it out. Yeah.
Like, I think they call that a mark.
Okay.
Like if you look like, you know, too normal, like.
And remember didn't you guys like one time, like the beach club, like you like dug a hole to sneak in so you didn't have to pay cover?
Yeah. That's
what happened with that.
That was when the weekend that I went, and I lost all my money.
That was that weekend?
That was that weekend, yeah. But the next day we still wanted to hang out. And there was like, I think it was Nikki Beach or something at the time. Mm-hmm. And there was like, it was like a penned in area and like there was sand.
It's probably like a $20 cover.
Yeah, $20 cover. We didn't have $20. So we like dug a hole in the sand and like crawled underneath the fence and dusted off.
And just started partying.
Started partying.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so we'll be back in AC. That'll be fun.
Yeah, hopefully we don't get robbed.
Yeah, hopefully. So questions.
Some fan questions. All right. First we got... What's the deal with this Hezbollah guy? I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Hezbollah guy. Weird that people are... Is it weird that people carry him around like a baby or nah?
I used to think that he was a baby. I used to think that it was like a 4-year-old. But then I have learned that he's like 18.
Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of think that if these were like American guys, like picking up like I don't know the right term, if it's a dwarf,
he's a dwarf.
A dwarf.
That's what I think.
Okay, so a little person. If it was you know, Stipe Miocic and he was like picking up like a 20-year-old little person and like parading them around, I feel like people would like be appalled by that and be like, it's dehumanizing and you're patronizing this person and like, you know, they would make such a big deal about it. But I think maybe because they're from like a different part of the world and they seem to really care for this little guy.
Well, he's definitely making money.
Yeah, I think that people are
more followers and stuff.
But don't you think though that if it was in like,
I mean,
if it was like an American guy doing that,
no.
If like Colby had like a little guy following him around and was
right.
It would not go well.
No, that's making me uncomfortable
Yeah,
just thinking about it. Like my palms are sweaty.
Well, like in the movie Elf, where there's
the book.
Yeah,
producer, whatever.
The author.
Yeah.
He's a little guy. He brings him in, and then he's like, "Oh, are you a South Pole elf?"
Yeah.
And he's like, you know. And it was so insulting because he was like,
he's like, "I'm a normal person." What you did?
Infantilizing. I think that's the word. But yeah,
Sounds
so I don't know. It seems kind of weird to me, but he seems happy.
It was funny because I was watching the fights, and it was like as soon as like Chimaev took the guy down, and they were in the corner, I was like so distracted. I was like, wait, am I bugging or is the little guy there? I didn't know.
Yeah, he was.
And I'm like, he was sitting there, but then during when he won, or maybe this was for Islam's fight, when Islam won, he's in the cage. And they're like all like passing him around, throwing him around, and like, I mean, obviously they know him, so they know if he likes it or not.
Right.
But I was like, oh my God, they're just like throwing him around in like a toy. And then they're like holding him up and him and like Khabib are like headbutting each other. And then I saw.
It's cute, but I just feel that it's only cute because I think culturally that's more acceptable because it's them. I know that if it was two American guys doing that, that would not fly.
Definitely not.
No way.
But we like him.
Yeah, he's adorable.
So we talked about the rise of wrestlers. Okay. Dating/breaking up with your main training partner in BJJ, but I still have feelings.
Oh, geez. That's going to be tough for me to answer because like my main training partners were like Jake Shields, Tim Carpenter, Gordon. I've never dated any of them. Mm-hmm. So I can't
Well, I think the person that asked this was a girl.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of have a theory on this just because I see like girls come in the gym all the time and then right away they start dating, whether it's like the coach or a training partner. It's just like you're one girl going into the gym and there's like, you know, in
Take
any
your
class, it's like you're the one girl. You don't even have to be like kind of cute. Every guy's like interested in you because you're there, you're doing it. You think what they're doing is cool. Especially jujitsu, like most girls don't know what jujitsu is and they don't like think it's cool. You know what I mean? They just don't know what it is. They're like, whatever. You just like roll around with dudes all day.
Right.
Like, you know? So I think if you're a girl going in, it's like, it's hard not to date them because you're around all these,
of course,
you're around 40 guys all day and you don't
especially if you train every day.
Yeah. If you're a girl, I don't think your main training partner should necessarily be the guy. I mean, maybe.
Well, do you know that it is a guy?
No.
Maybe it was another girl.
Yeah, maybe it was another girl. Then just fuck her up. No.
But I think it's the same type of thing where it's like if you had a job and you were dating someone who worked at the same job, like, I mean, what are you going to quit your job? Same thing. You're not going to quit your job. You're not going to quit your gym if you're happy at that gym. You know, people sometimes break up and it's beyond like jujitsu, or it's not, it's, you know, you just go back to just jujitsu.
Yeah.
You know, and start dating someone else.
Yeah.
Right. But
it is tough though.
I think the same thing. Like if you break up with someone who you worked with, you know, then every day you gotta see him at work. It'd be uncomfortable at the beginning, but
you'll get over it eventually. But that's the risk you take. I mean, you know,
you're probably gonna break up.
Like people always say, "Oh, don't date anyone you work with." But like if you're at work all day long and you don't go out, then you're probably gonna date someone you work with. You know, same thing with training. So it just makes sense. But I mean, it sucks because you can't like ghost them because you'll see them there all the time. But you just gotta date someone else and just get over it. It'll just take a little longer, I think.
Yeah.
And then
it's not a big deal. Just don't shy away from it and be like, all right, they were at the gym first, they can have it. I'll go somewhere else. No. Don't do that. If you like the gym, just go and everyone will get over it. And you'll probably get back together anyway.
Yeah. And if it helps your training, still train with the person because that should come before anything.
Yeah.
But okay. Next one. Should you care about your date's body count? Do you know what that means, Kyle?
Yeah.
I didn't know if you knew that lingo, body count.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. How much is too much or too little?
This has never been something I've been concerned with. I've never cared. I've never asked anyone. I've never cared. It doesn't mean anything to me. Like there's, you know, I think when you're like in high school, people are like, oh, the girl's a slut.
Yeah,
she's like, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, like I couldn't possibly care less. So that's not like, I hate that term count. Like who keeps track?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even, lame. You know, it's kind of corny, but I think the other part of that is too little.
I think
that
that's
is a little bit more of an issue.
I think that's more of a concern than too much.
I agree.
Because some people correlate too much as like unable to be committed. And that's totally different. That's totally different. Like and girls do that. Like, oh, I know he's been with so many girls. It's like, okay.
But if he likes you,
then yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter. Okay, some guy, then you're gonna go date some guy that's been with one girl and he's pathetic, and there's not everyone, but then he's just like obsessed with you because he's like, oh, I might not be able to get anyone else. He doesn't even know. You know, you're just his second option. He doesn't even know what else is out there.
Yeah, this is better to have too many than too little. If someone's like never been with someone, then like needy and dependent and like obsessed, especially in the early stages of a relationship, that's never a good thing. And someone who's inexperienced probably portrays some of those
qualities,
characteristics.
Yeah. And also too, I think you shouldn't really care too much because you're never really going to find out.
I mean, why? Because you think someone will lie?
Of course.
If I knew, I would say, but I have no idea. Like,
you'd have to
I don't know.
Yeah, you can't remember. You have like the worst memory too.
The worst memory. I remember one time. This was years ago. I tried to like make a list, and like I forgot like a girl I dated for like years. Like if you forget a girl you dated for years,
it wasn't like a one night stand. It was like a long term girlfriend.
Yeah. I like forgot her.
Yeah, but like I said,
my memory's like horrible.
I think it's super weird when like, and it always seems like it goes against the girls. Like
it does.
It goes against the girls, and it's super weird to me when guys are like obsessed with like asking girls, like
losers,
how many people, and like, oh, this person, did you know this person? It's like, dude, I mean, like they're probably gonna lie to you anyway, so don't ask. And like, I mean, who cares? Like, I just think that screams like insecure.
If you like the person, it does not matter. If you want to be with that person, it does not matter. And it doesn't mean that because they have some history that I'm not gonna be able to trust her. No, if things are good, things are good. It does not matter. Like you can't make a hoe into a housewife. I mean, you probably can, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's what I think anyway. Never bothered. I've never been concerned.
Yeah.
I've never asked you.
Yeah, but we kind of just go forward.
Yeah, I don't care.
Who cares? But yeah. All right, that's all we got for today.
That's it?
Yep.
All right. Hopefully that one part with the AC stories, I was a little like nervous. I've never been nervous telling a story before.
Yeah, I was like, the only thing I was gonna say, I'm like, just don't say the name of the other person that it was in case they don't want people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I was like, just don't say his actual name.
But thanks for listening. Hope you guys are enjoying this. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. We're really trying to push that channel. I think it's kind of fun. We have some different ideas for it, but be sure to like and subscribe.
Thank you. Bye-bye.